We're also learning more tonight about the victims of the Fort Hood shooting this week and why the gunman, Specialist Ivan Lopez, may have opened fire. This as Texas Governor Rick Perry and Senator Ted Cruz toured the region and met with those faced with healing physically and emotionally right now. After the horrible acts that created this scene on Wednesday at Fort Hood, lawmakers made it clear that this community will be one in need for quite some time.
There aren't any easy answers to what occurred here, and there's no way to wish away the suffering that's occurring.
This is a place where heroes abide.
Fort Hood is a national treasure. The men and women who serve here, they protect our nation. They volunteered to risk everything.
But this week, just like in 2009, something went incredibly wrong at home. 3 people died, more than a dozen were injured when Specialist Ivan Lopez opened fire on the post.
And there's a strong possibility that in fact immediately preceded the shooting. But we do not have that definitively at this point, but we do have strong indications of that.
We're now hearing stories about people like the military policewoman who confronted Lopez before he apparently turned his gun on himself, and an Army chaplain injured as he jumped into the line of fire.
There's always those stories about heroism. There are always those reflections of what an incredibly strong community and communities that we have across this state.
And that strength will be needed, especially for the families of those who didn't survive. 3 were identified by friends and relatives today. Sergeant First Class Danny Ferguson, who had just returned from Afghanistan, Sergeant Timothy Owens, and Carlos Lazani.
In the midst of the tragedy, you find inspiration. In the midst of the tragedy, you see men and women coming together even stronger.
Texas Governor Rick Perry assured that wounds will heal because soldiers are resilient.
But you still see it in the eyes of the people that you meet. You see it in the handshake that they give you, the strength of these people. They'll recover. They'll recover from this latest tragedy.
According to the father of one of the injured soldiers, Specialist Lopez opened fire after he tried to pick up a form to request time off and was told to come back later. Now, more about 2 of those victims that I just told you about. 37-year-old Sergeant Timothy Owens, for starters, from Illinois, was a husband and a father. Those who knew him say that he loved the military and would help anyone in need. His friends are puzzled over how a soldier could lose his life on a U.S. military post.
You worry about it when he's overseas and is in war. You don't think about it actually happening here, stateside, something happening like that, and then twice.
You never think something like this is going to hit that close to home.
Owens was a 10-year Army veteran. He served in both Iraq and Kuwait. The fiancé of Sergeant First Class Danny Ferguson says he sacrificed his life to keep the gunman out of a packed room.
He held that door shut because there's no locks. Those doors are seemed like they would be bulletproof, but apparently not. And if he was not being the one against that door holding it, that shooter would have been able to get through and shoot everyone else.
Flags fly at half-staff on Capitol Hill to honor the victims. Congressional leaders called for all flags at the Capitol to be lowered yesterday afternoon. They will remain at half-staff through sunset. Stay with Wavy News 10 on air and online for continuing coverage of the Fort Hood shootings. On Wavy.com, we have the latest information, a timeline of events, photos, and the previous news conferences. Again, we are waiting on another one right now.